All right, everyone ready to jump into the Oasis?
Sounds fun.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive on Ready Player One, but with a bit of an Enneagram twist.
Ooh, I like twists.
So we're not going back to Enneagram basics or anything like that.
Right, our listeners already know the types.
Exactly. We're going way past 101 today.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about how a specific type,
Okay.
Self-Preservation 7,
Interesting.
manifests in Wade Watts, the main character.
And you found some really specific things that point to this, right, in the book?
Yeah, my notes are full of them.
Awesome. Can't wait.
You know, it's funny because using pop culture to explore the Enneagram is actually
Yeah.
a really cool way to see these types, you know.
In action.
Yeah, not just in theory, but like
Yeah.
how they make decisions, their relationship.
Everything. The whole 9 yards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Adds a whole other dimension. So
That's
anyone who needs a refresher,
Yeah.
Ready Player One is set in this pretty bleak future.
Dystopian, right?
Yeah. Where everyone escapes into virtual reality, this world called the Oasis.
Right.
And the Oasis is basically like tailor-made for a Self-Preservation 7, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about it. Constant stimulation.
Right.
Which is like,
Total catnip for a 7.
it's like a siren song. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and this is key, it's stimulation in a controlled environment that Wade can curate, can personalize to his liking.
Totally. So he's not just passively taking it all in.
Right.
He's in the driver's seat, really shaping his own experience.
Absolutely.
It's like, it's almost the ultimate keeper of the castle set.
Exactly. Creating this safe space, this personalized world
Yeah.
where they feel secure.
And in control, which
Yes.
for a Self-Preservation 7, avoiding pain is a huge motivator, right?
Huge, yeah.
So the Oasis becomes this perfect refuge from, well,
Reality.
yeah, from the really tough world outside.
Right.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting for me, I think. So Wade becomes this incredible gamer,
Oh, yeah.
right? Mastering every challenge.
Yeah.
Finding all the loopholes in the Oasis.
He's so resourceful.
So resourceful. Is that, do you think, like a direct result of that Self-Preservation 7 need to always be one step ahead?
I definitely think that's a big part of it.
Okay.
Because for his Self-Preservation 7 resourcefulness,
Yeah. There's superpower.
Yeah, they're always scanning their surroundings, figuring out how things work, stockpiling resources, whether it's, actual physical things
Yeah.
or knowledge
Yeah.
to ensure basically their survival and comfort.
Right. It's like they're building this internal bunker
Exactly.
filled with all the skills and knowledge they need to
Yeah.
protect themselves from any threat,
Yeah, and when we say threats, we don't just mean physical danger,
Right.
I mean, for an SP7 boredom, deprivation,
Yeah.
those can feel just as threatening.
They can.
Yeah.
So by becoming a total master of the Oasis,
Right.
Wade's guaranteeing himself that constant supply of stimulation
Yeah,
and resources.
for sure.
So it eliminates those
Yeah.
potential sources of discomfort.
Exactly.
Wow. I mean, that totally changes how we see his obsession with winning his Easter eggs.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
It adds a new dimension.
It's not just about the glory.
Right.
It's about securing his survival.
Survival in this world.
Yeah, well, at least survival in this virtual world.
Right.
That's become more real to him than,
Yeah, than his actual life.
his actual life.
It's really fascinating.
Yeah, and this is where it gets
Yeah.
even more complex, I think.
Yeah.
Because even though they're really focused on their own needs,
Right.
they're not necessarily selfish.
Right. It's not black and white.
It's not that simple.
No.
Their desire for this secure, pleasurable environment,
Yeah.
it often extends to their inner circle, their family.
Right.
And speaking of family, that's something I wanted to ask you about.
Okay.
Wade forms this really close group of friends in the Oasis. Yeah, he does.
Which, at first glance, doesn't seem like a typical fun-loving, freedom-seeking 7 thing to do, right?
Yeah, good point.
Like, you wouldn't think that would be a priority.
You wouldn't.
So how does that fit in?
Well, it might seem counterintuitive,
Yeah.
but for a Self-Preservation 7, these close relationships
Okay.
are actually a part of their security strategy.
Oh, interesting.
It's not just about, having buddies to have fun with.
Right.
It's about these strategic alliances
Mm.
that offer support, resources, even protection.
Yeah.
All things that make them feel safe and well.
So you're saying that his loyalty to his friends,
Yeah.
his willingness to fight for them, to share his victories,
Mm-hmm.
is that, at least in part, motivated by this desire to maintain his own security?
It's definitely more nuanced than just pure altruism.
Okay.
Self-Preservation 7, they really understand that strong relationships, it creates this win-win.
Yeah.
So by investing in those relationships, they're also ensuring their own well-being. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's like they're not just being nice, it's actually kind of strategic in a way.
In a way, yeah.
But not necessarily in a bad way,
Right. Not necessarily. No.
because everyone benefits.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like that saying, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Right.
They know that by building a strong network, they're making a better, more stable, more enjoyable environment for themselves.
Totally.
By helping others, they're also helping themselves.
It really challenges how we think about sevens, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they're not just hedonistic.
No, not at all.
There's more to it.
Definitely more nuance.
And I think Ready Player One shows that.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially with Wade and how protective he is of the Oasis.
Yeah.
It's not just about him wanting a place to game.
Right.
He sees it as this, like, shared sanctuary, this vital resource for everyone who wants to escape the real world.
Exactly. So he's extending that family concept to the whole Oasis community.
Wow.
Like his need for security and abundance, it goes beyond just his friends.
To this whole virtual world?
Yeah. Like he's fighting to protect the Oasis.
From Iowa.
From IOI, that greedy corporation that just wants to control it and make money off it.
It's like he's saying, this is our escape, our haven.
I won't let anyone take that from us.
Yeah. It adds another layer to his motives, right?
It does.
It's not just about what he gets out of it.
Right.
It's about protecting this resource, this source of joy and freedom for everyone who needs it.
For the whole community.
It's almost, I don't know, heroic.
Yeah, it is. And that's something we forget about self-preservation sevens. Their main focus is on their own security, sure.
Yeah.
But they're also deeply invested in making sure their community is doing okay.
Whether it's close friends
Yeah.
or a whole virtual society like Roe v. Wade.
Exactly.
So it's like their way of creating abundance is by making sure everyone has what they need.
That's a great way to put it.
To thrive, to be happy.
Yeah, it's not really self-sacrifice. It's more like they get that their own happiness is tied to the happiness of those around them.
That's deep.
It is.
This is really making me rethink sevens.
Yeah.
I always thought of them as like...
What, like free spirits?
Yeah. Just flitting from experience to experience.
Right. No responsibilities.
Yeah, not into commitments.
Yeah, but the self-preservation subtype, it's a different story.
How so?
Think of them like the strategists of the seven world.
Okay.
They know that true freedom comes from security, having a reliable network of support,
Yeah.
a well-stocked pantry.
Literally and figuratively.
Exactly.
So, like, they want to build this incredible treehouse with all the bells and whistles, but they also make sure it has a solid foundation.
Yeah.
Strong branches, supplies to last through any storm.
Exactly. They want to enjoy the view from the top.
But they want to make sure it's not going to collapse on them.
Right.
That's a great image. It really gets at the core of the self-preservation seven.
Yeah, I like that.
But speaking of weathering storms,
Yeah.
what happens when that sense of security is threatened?
Oh, good question.
Like, how do they react?
Well, I think Wade gives us some clues, right?
Okay.
When IOI starts taking over the Oasis, threatening everything Wade has built,
Right.
he goes into overdrive.
Really?
Yeah, he gets even more resourceful, more strategic.
Wow.
He's even more determined to protect what matters to him.
So it's like all that planning, all that preparation, it just kicks in
It kicks in a high gear.
like an emergency protocol.
Exactly. It activates when they feel unsafe. And they become incredibly focused.
So they don't just crumble.
Oh, no, not at all.
They actually, like, step up.
They rise to the challenge.
Wow.
Remember, self-preservation sevens are resilient. They've spent their lives getting ready for threats, thinking of ways to overcome them.
So they have this, like, inner strength.
Yeah, and ingenuity.
They've been training for this.
So in a way, challenges bring out their best. Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about the good stuff.
Yeah.
Their strengths, their resilience, their strategic thinking, their loyalty. But what about the shadow side?
Right.
What are some of the things they struggle with?
Well, one of the biggest ones is balancing their need for control with their desire for connection.
Like that thing where they put up walls around their hearts
Exactly.
to avoid being vulnerable?
Keep people at arm's length.
Yeah, so they don't have to depend on anyone.
It all comes back to that fear of losing their independence.
Because deep down, they want connection,
They do.
but they're also terrified of it.
Yeah, they're afraid of being trapped, controlled.
It's like they're always caught between these two desires.
They are.
Wanting to let people in, but also needing to be free.
It's a tough balance.
And that tension can cause problems,
It can.
like pushing people away
Yeah.
just when things are getting good.
Or getting so focused on experiences and things.
They forget to take care of relationships.
It's a common pattern.
It's like they always have to be one step ahead
Even in love.
to avoid getting hurt.
To avoid feeling confined.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It can cause a lot of pain, though.
For everyone involved.
Yeah, for them and for the people who care about them.
So is there a way out of this?
There is.
Like, how can a self-preservation 7 balance their need for security
Yeah.
with their desire for real intimacy?
It starts with awareness,
Okay.
recognizing those patterns of self-protection,
Yeah.
understanding the fears behind them.
So once they're aware, then what?
Then it's about learning to trust.
Trust.
Trusting themselves, trusting others, trusting that they can be loved.
Without having to give up their independence.
Exactly.
That sounds hard.
It can be, yeah.
But it's worth it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because when self-preservation 7 opens up
Yeah.
and lets love in,
They discover a whole new level of joy and fulfillment.
that goes beyond just fleeting pleasures. Yeah, it's like the real prize at the end isn't some big pile of gold or a virtual kingdom or whatever.
Yep.
It's that real connection, you know?
Exactly. And I think Ready Player One actually gets at that.
Hmm.
Like, Wade starts out so fixated on winning,
Uh-huh.
controlling the oasis,
Right. But in the end,
but in the end,
it's the relationships that matter.
that bring him true happiness.
It's like he realizes that all the planning, all the stuff,
Yeah.
it can't replace those real connections.
Warmth.
That feeling of belonging, of security.
Exactly. Human connection.
I think that's something a lot of self-preservation 7s can relate to.
Oh, yeah.
They spend so much time building up their independence.
Their fortress.
Yeah. But then they find out that real happiness comes from,
Letting people in.
lowering the drawbridge.
Exactly.
This has been so eye-opening.
It's been fun.
I feel like I understand self-preservation 7 so much better now.
That's great to hear.
Any last thoughts for our listeners before we wrap up?
Let me see. How about this? Think about your own life.
Okay.
What oases have you built for yourself?
Interesting.
And who is in your family of convenience?
Ooh, that's a good one for everyone to think about.
It is.
And whether you're a 7 or not,
Right?
I definitely recommend checking out Ready Player One again.
With this new perspective.
Yeah, Wade's journey might look completely different now.
It might.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time, keep exploring and keep those Enneagram lenses polished.